Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, I will be taking you along with me on 2 consecutive spring afternoons in regular homemaking, some baking and some cooking. I will be baking a sourdough bread and foraging for wild garlic with my daughter and making a wild garlic pesto, and I will also be cooking lunch and doing general homemaking. I've been extremely busy since I got back from India a couple of months back. I've been deep cleaning and also getting into the regular routine. It takes me a while to get back into the regular routine after a break of about a month. Spring has really arrived. We have been having warm days, and my daughter and I went foraging and we picked a few wild garlic leaves. Last year I somehow missed it because we had a very wet spring and I just didn't go and pick. So this year I was determined to do it. Now I'll be baking a sourdough bread with dingleberries. I fed the starter the night before and now it's ready. It's very bubbly. I've been holding on to the starter since a while. I think about 3 to 4 years. You cannot expect the dough to be extremely glutinous because dingle is very low in gluten, and moreover, I grind the berries. So the window pane test is not an ideal thing if you would compare it to wheat flour. But anyway, it has worked out, and I like to clean up the mixing bowl immediately. Usually I use the dishwasher, but it's quite a big one and it takes a lot of space. Instead, I could load some other smaller pots in it. I will first be doing the bulk ferment, and then afterwards I will shape the dough and do the second ferment. And usually I do the second ferment in the refrigerator and then bake it. I started this bread a little bit later in the afternoon, so I let it ferment overnight in the fridge and baked it the next day, and so we had it for the next day's lunch. This year I started spring cleaning a little bit later, and I've been at it since a little bit more than a month. I finished cleaning all the kitchen cabinets, but there was one last shelf close to the cooking area which I needed to tackle, and that you'll be seeing me doing at the end of this video. I've been going through every nook and corner in our home, right from the top floor, and decluttering and then deep cleaning. So this has been keeping me very busy to even write all the recipes in my blog or even post regularly on YouTube. I've shared a couple of videos on how to make wild garlic pesto, and for this recipe I will be using 50 grams of cashew nuts and 50 grams of wild garlic leaves freshly washed and drained with the salad dryer, and 200 milliliter of olive oil, the juice of half a lemon and a teaspoon of salt, and then mix it all together and store it in glass containers and refrigerate it because they will not last outside fresh. And I could also do some water bath canning with this pesto, and I did experiment on this a couple of years back and it worked because I did add enough of lemon juice and they lasted quite a while after canning. Since the pesto was fresh, I wanted to use it immediately, and I cooked spaghetti for lunch. We usually use dinkel grain spaghetti because my daughter and I are gluten intolerant, so we avoid gluten as much as possible, especially wheat. And we have switched completely to dinkel and rye in our diet. Having modern conveniences in my kitchen makes my life easier, and the dishwasher is one such convenience. For a couple of weeks, we had no dishwasher, and this had come back from the service center a couple of days before. And during the times when we had no dishwasher, I was not cooking a lot of dishes. I was trying to be very minimal in cooking, and after it came back, of course, I'm back to my normal swing of cooking, and we are not so mindful in using the pots and pans. We have a Swiss-made dishwasher, and this dishwasher is really very energy efficient, and we had running service contract with them. I prefer not to pre-wash, but sometimes when it is a little bit debris on the plate and pots, then I just give it a rough rinse. Because the purpose of having a dishwasher is to save water and energy. It is really very efficient. We use less than 15 liters of water to do a whole big load. And I've chosen the Euro norm. The Swiss machines are usually smaller for the Swiss kitchen. We chose a bigger one so I can load in quite a lot of dishes and pots and pans in it. I run the automatic program, much more hygienic. I could run the eco program, but that takes about 3.5 hours and the dishes do not dry. And if I want a short wash, it's not as efficient, or you can say like it is not very hygienic. It's better to wash them with high heat. I can even pre-program the machine, like I can set the timer and it would start at that particular time, and that one is also very practical in case I want to run it in the evening before bedtime. We usually run a couple of loads during the day. This was how my day went through on that day. I had to restock my cellar pantry. I've shared a couple of videos on Pantry Organization and the pantry staples that I store for a vegetarian kitchen, and I will link those videos below in the description box or add them in the cards above. This organization has been working very well since 2 years, and I don't see a need to change much. A couple of shelves needed reshuffling here. Otherwise, it's been working out very well. This stock should last us for about 3 months. Of course, not everything is included because I do have a kitchen pantry too, where I have some other stuff stored in there. I will be also linking the video to my kitchen pantry organization in the description or add it in the cards above. And during the summer months, we have a lot of canning to do, but that I store in a different room. And this is all the regular groceries, which even my daughter can come and pick up when she wants to bake. Gave it a little bit of maintenance cleaning while stocking up, and it was nice to do this. It doesn't really get very dusty in this area, but still it's nice to keep everything clean so that there's no bugs or other things coming over here. We have been of late having a little bit of ants close to the main door. That's because it's spring. They are all finding food, and I just drop in a little bit of sugar outside the entrance door, and now they have kind of disappeared. I'm continuing with the washing. We usually wash on Saturday and Sunday. I think I recorded this video on Monday. This day I'll be washing all the bed covers. I usually wash them on Sundays, but since we had a lot of other washing to do on Sunday, I was a little bit delayed, so I'm washing it on Monday. And it's much more efficient to do everything at one stretch like on Saturday and Sunday. That way I can save the energy, and on top of that I can use the drying room just on these 2 days. Otherwise throughout the week I'll have to be running the dehumidifier. The dehumidifier also consumes a lot of energy. We installed Miele washer and dryer. In fact, I'm quite satisfied with both the washer and dryer. Despite it, I seldom use the dryer because it takes a lot of energy to do one load of laundry. Hence, we installed this drying lines and also a dehumidifier. In fact, since the beginning of 2023, they have increased the energy costs by 30% in Switzerland. There's a little bit of laundry to fold so that I can gain the space for hanging the bed covers. During the summer months, we will be drying our laundry outside, and I've just recently purchased a life height drying stand. It opens up like a tree, and you can also dry the bed covers in it. I've used this previously in my older homes, and it was from Stevie, but before moving in here, it broke apart, so we recycled that. It's nice to hang the clothes in the sunshine. Many of my neighbors are also doing it. There's no law against it. While I'm at it, I'm also doing a maintenance cleanup. I already did a deep clean a few weeks back. The open shelving units in this laundry room does get dusty because the fine dust from the clothes are flying all over the place. This is the next day, and I'm going to be baking the sourdough bread which I started the day before. After the first proof, I did a second proof in the fridge, and now it's time to bake it, and this is sometime early morning, and this bread will be ready for the lunch. It is a little bit difficult to handle bread with spelt flour. As I'm trying to score this bread, it's already flattening out, so I have to be really quick about it, and I cannot do some elaborate scoring on this bread. So I just stick to some basics, so there is some kind of design on it. I usually bake sourdough bread in a cold oven. I do not preheat the oven. Stick the bread in a cold Dutch oven, and I heat the oven up to the maximum temperature. In my case, it is 230 degrees centigrade. Bake it for about an hour. At the end of the hour, I remove the lid from the Dutch oven and bake it a further 25 minutes at a reduced temperature. I reduce it to 180 degrees centigrade, and then the bread really comes out very nice. It's the same as preheating, but in this case I'm kind of saving the energy and it's the same effect. I've been doing this since some time and it's working out very well for me. I had pre-programmed this load the previous day late afternoon, and then it was done during the night. On this day, we cooked everything we harvested from our garden. I cooked a mixed vegetable soup with leek, potatoes and pumpkin. The leek was the last from our garden and now they are flowering, and so we are not going to be harvesting anymore. Then I also pan fried some sweet potatoes. They were also the last from our garden. We harvested them in autumn. My husband has been kind of demotivated to do any gardening the last couple of months due to the mice problem we had last year. Last year we planted so many varieties, but we couldn't even get quarter of an yield because the mice ate them from the roots. I will be using some of the sweet potato in the soup and some of them will be pan fried, and we will also be cooking some Brussels sprouts, which is the last harvest from our garden. My daughter loves Brussels sprouts very much. I will be using just butter to cook it and add a few spices like some paprika, some garlic powder, salt and pepper, and fry to crisp. That's how she likes it, and she likes to add some tahini sauce to it when she's eating the Brussels sprouts. As I'm going to be concluding this video, I will be deep cleaning this shelving unit. On this unit, I have just a little bit of decor on the top. These are all 4 plants because I don't want to store anything else on the topmost shelf. Then I have some cookbooks and herbs from our garden which I've been collecting. We use them for teas. And then also just next to the coffee machine there's a small open shelf, and there we store all the coffee beans and sugar and such. So it was time to deep clean. During the spring months it does get very dusty from all the pollen dust from outside. Thank you all for staying with me till the end of this video, and hopefully this video was giving you an insight to my day-to-day homemaking and also an insight into my life during the spring months. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye bye.